Get the grippers! No. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Feed! Feed! You have alerted the horde! Feed! 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 Alright, 3, 2, 1, boom, I'm ready. People really wanted me to watch this one.
Hi, welcome to another episode of ColdFusion.
Hello!
He held his phone close, eyes searching for privacy.
Whoa.
The man scarcely noticed the subway riders around him, or the 90-year-old artist sketching his hunched frame from across the train. In the 7 decades since Alex Katz first drew the outlines of commuters on New York City's early morning trains, the chattering riders and newspapers had all but gone. In their places were people who rode alone, together, the light in their eyes reflecting the glow of their smartphone. That was a quote from the Dallas Morning News. This short imagery is something that we see and all understand, but never really think deeply about. Why does it seem like less people are talking to each other in public? Why do we collectively prefer the dim glow of a smartphone screen?
You know what? I don't know what the worst reason about it is that we can find communities that completely agree with us and we don't experience friction in real life. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I think it's a great thing, but it's also a really, really bad thing. You can really, really easily find just like a community that you can never be challenged or like have any sort of friction with.
Remember your childhood neighborhood? Chances are, you probably felt like it was one big family. Everybody knew each other, celebrated together, and would offer help when needed.
Yeah, a little bit.
But in recent decades, this seems like it's no longer the case. People seem to keep to themselves more. And as a side effect, people are more lonely today than ever before. The number of men without any close friends has increased 5 times since 1990. And
what? What the fuck? 5 times? What the frick, man? Close friends is like considered like a best friend or anything like within that circle, right? Like a really good friend. I'm one of them. I don't really have a best friend. Like, I have a friend, a girlfriend? Maybe, like, 2? Like, acquaintances? Yeah. Like, I have a lot of acquaintances. Work acquaintances. Ex-work acquaintances.
10 times for women. Though the total...
Wait, what? Wait, hold... Nah, what? I thought it'd be the other way around. 10 times? Yo, them Fujoshi's gonna kind of fucking going crazy. I think I fucking get it. See, women hate women. Yeah, I think that's a factor, but I also think it's the Fujoshis. They don't want to fucking talk to other women because they're too busy looking at anime boys being yaoi and shit.
Percentage of men feeling lonely is higher. On top of this, 3/4 of Gen Z report feeling lonely.
Wow.
Why have we drifted from each other? What is going on here? The trend started before the pandemic and even before smartphones, so it has to be—
It's those damn fucking video games. No, don't tell me like a statistic of like when in 2009 people started playing World of Warcraft at its peak. Is it gonna be that?
Something structural within society. But what? I've been working on this episode for many months. It's an exploration of the loneliness epidemic. In this episode, we'll see the definitions of loneliness, its origins, its causes, and who's most affected.
I'm here to get educated,
this episode isn't all bad news. We'll explore some very real ways to combat loneliness. This isn't the kind of video I normally do, but I think it's an important topic. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it.
Alright. Learning time, chat, learning!
You are watching ColdFusion TV.
Okay.
Loneliness is on the rise globally, and it's being declared a health risk. A top US health expert has warned that loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes per day.
Isn't there a syndrome where like your heart literally can break? Yeah, if you experience extreme heartbreak or sorrow, your heart can literally break. Yeah, I don't think this is very far-fetched from, like, feeling very sad and not having friends. Welp, it's over. No, it's not, Chad. I have hope, man.
In 2017,
Gosh, darn it.
former US Surgeon General Vivek Murthy recognized the growing trend in loneliness based on scientific research.
I gotta
Vivek
start
phrased the
smoking,
phenomenon
Chad.
as the loneliness epidemic. But to understand this winding and twisting story, we have to start at the fundamentals. What does it mean to be lonely?
Isolated. Only talking online. I feel like online talking is not the same as talking. Yeah, I feel like online talking is not the same as like talking to like a real person face to face. Like, even people tell me all the time, like, oh yeah, streaming, you must not be lonely. And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, there's like 1,000 faces in my stream, right? But I'm not actually physically talking to them. They don't see my face and I don't see theirs. It's not a one-to-one. It's not a substitute. Nobody willing to shave my balls. Thank you, Stink Stick. Appreciate that comment.
People sometimes confuse loneliness and solitude, but the fact of the matter is, being alone and feeling lonely are not the same. You can feel lonely even though you're physically with other people, or you can enjoy solitude without feeling lonely.
That's true, but that's a trained thing. I feel like that's a very difficult mental hurdle for most people. Yeah, introverts don't suffer from this, but introverts also like to expend the energy of being lonely so that they can reuse and recycle that energy into wanting to be alone again. Same with extroverts. Like, they want to recharge by being with people, but then when they're alone, they're like, ah, fuck, man. Oh, shit. Introverts get lonely too. Oh yeah, I love going to the park and just sitting there and watch people. Nobody has to talk to me. I don't want to talk to anyone, but I like seeing people walking around and shit. I feel like that's also like a form of draining your social battery. In a healthy way, I suppose.
In a nutshell, loneliness is not always the result of being alone. It's more of a mental state of being. From a neuroscientist point of view, loneliness is actually a state of hypervigilance. It makes you feel unsafe and unsatisfied with your social interactions. It's a type of emotional pain signal. The pain is telling your brain that you need to find someone to talk to. That's what loneliness is. The difference between how much social connection you want and how much you feel you actually have.
But if I have social connection through playing video games, like for World of Warcraft, for example, then it's satisfied to an extent. It's not a one-to-one, but it's definitely there. Yeah. I can tell you, man, social MMOs are amazing. They really can be.
It can be summed up by this line. Loneliness is feeling disconnected from others, even when they're right next to you. If it's temporary, it's the equivalent of being hungry. But when it becomes chronic, that's when it starts affecting your health. Chronic loneliness can trigger a fight or flight response, and when that becomes bad enough, it becomes ingrained in our nervous system, resulting in anxiety, depression, and even anger.
Yep.
The pandemic poured fuel on a fire that was already burning.
Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General, says loneliness is an epidemic, the focus of an 80-page advisory he is releasing today.
We're used to thinking about smoking and obesity as clear public health concerns.
So you're saying loneliness is comparable to smoking in terms of the detriment to your health?
Yeah, mentally. It might not affect you like a cancer. It won't affect your breathing. It won't affect your exercise directly. But you not being able to breathe when you go up the stairs, but like it makes you not want to do things. It can lead to really deep depression and not wanting to get out of bed. Yeah. I really do feel that. I feel like people really do underestimate what COVID did to people. When I went through the whole COVID bullshit, like, bro, I don't know, man. You'd go to a supermarket and it's sterile. Like, everybody's, like, standing apart from each other. I remember there was a point where I went to my local supermarket and I felt like throwing up because it's like everyone was scared and it, like, made me scared. And it's like, I'm not a scared person, but in that moment, you feel like everybody's watching each other. And it was so weird.
In terms of the risk that it poses for
It
premature
felt
death.
unnatural.
The cure, Dr. Murthy says, is not only personal change, but societal change as well.
True.
You're talking about changing the social fabric. That's been decades in the making.
It's been decades in the making, but it's also something that I'm confident that we can address if we put our mind to it and if we act together.
We'll get to more of the health effects a bit later. But for now, let's ask the question, how did we get here? Loneliness is not a new thing. It's been around for as long as humans have. Today's loneliness seems like a simple cause and effect. As society became more complex, with industrialization, urbanization, and
You know what actually is the bigger problem? I just thought of that. In Spain, the power went out and nobody could work, and I'm like, I don't think it's actually the phones that are destroying us, it's the 9 to 5. I think social media plays a big factor, but not as big of a factor as the 9 to 5, like 5 days a week thing. Because those people were still playing on their phones, like playing music on their phones and hanging out and having fun and taking videos with their cameras or like taking pictures and posting on Twitter. But they were outside and you could tell they were happy because it's like, I don't have to work and everybody else isn't, and I'm hanging out and everybody is vibrant around me. That's what actually hurts. It's not those damn video games, man.
faster pace of life, people became lonely. But it's not that straightforward. Something major happened in the 1960s and 70s that became the bedrock for the Loneliness
Fucking
Epidemic
9 to
Declaration
5.
in 2017. In Western nations, it was the social movements of the 1960s and 70s that seemed to accelerate this.
Women, letting women vote and letting women be at work. There it is. Time to get canceled. Of course, bro, I'm not even trying to make a joke out of it. I genuinely think there's a big problem with women having to be such a big pivotal thing in the workforce now that it's so integrated after like 30 to 40 years of it, man. Nobody wants to be a fucking housewife.
Phenomena.
Or they
A 2023 QC research piece on loneliness by Alan Greenblatt would mention that, quote, the mass social movements of the 1960s helped shift people's attention from local concerns to more national issues.
True. Wait, that's actually a good point. Yeah. Yeah, you don't care about your town. You care about the larger sphere of a country. More generalized, more isolated.
End quote. In other words, local communities mattered less, and it was all about changing the national status quo.
True.
According to
Those
Alan,
damn
this
hippies.
eventually resulted in a, quote, decreased number of social gatherings and eroded organisational participation, end quote. For a commentary on the cultural mood at the time, at least in the UK, you can look no further than the Beatles. According to Paul McCartney, the 1966 Beatles song, Eleanor Rigby, was a broad commentary on the social changes of the 1960s happening at the time. You can see it in the lyrics, quote, all the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they belong? Look at all the lonely people. In the 1970s, things only got worse. This period would be famously known as the Me Decade. Why? Because a form of hyper-individualism began to express itself within society. As Yuval Levin articulates in The Fractured Republic, the 1970s saw high inflation, high crime, an explosion of single mothers, and the eroding of family structures.
Yeah, divorce rates were fucking insane in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, single mothers exploded. And, worst of all, fucking the urbanization and what is it called? God, what is the fucking word? What's that word when you is it gentrification? I don't like to use that word lightly, but there were issues with gentrifying in America, specifically in bigger cities during that time, yeah.
Why collectively care about changing the world, or even the local community,
It's
when
recent.
everyone has their own...
No, I don't think it's recent. I think it started in the 80s and it ramped up over time. But yeah, the first incident of like serious gentrification was the Bronx, I think, in America.
problems to deal with.
Gentrification, no.
The 70s saw tensions between different sects of society grow.
Yeah.
Divorce rates would more than double between 1960 and 1980. Society was rapidly changing, and it caused a great upheaval. From around this time, society lost its cohesive glue. People would break out from the crushing conformity and turned inwards towards the satisfaction of individual wants and needs. People moved away from tradition and took their own paths in life. Of course, this resulted in more freedom of expression and less...
And more money for people to fucking spend because they wanted to spend money. No, not more money for people to spend, but more money consumed on products. It all boils down to that big fat capitalism in the room.
Repression. But Levin states that the price we paid for this new freedom has been high. Quote, "We have let loose a scourge of loneliness and isolation that we are still afraid to acknowledge as the distinct social dysfunction of our age of individualism." End quote. In other words, loneliness has thrived and evolved from our increasing individualism. Filmmaker David Hoffman speaks to Rushworth Kidder, a man born in 1944. His historically massive generation, called the baby boomers, would come to maturity in the 1960s and 70s. He describes his lived observations of witnessing the dissolving of society.
We're made for each other. There is a sense in which society matters because we're part of it and we need to participate in it. It's not going to work all by itself. And what happened in my generation, it seems, again and again, is people coming up to that realization and then just sort of something turning off. And off they drift off into sort of separate orbits, flying around as kind of unattached asteroids.
Well, that still boils down to like the idea that you can't really go down to the mom and pop shop and support them. It's like a Walmart is there. I totally agree with him, but it just kind of does boil down to like industrialization at this rate. Yeah. It's so bad. Nah, man, and COVID really ramped that up too. How many of you guys remember seeing a store or a restaurant in your local town or city that got closed down because of COVID, and then something else more generic replaced it? Yeah, I saw it happen like quite a few times.
Out there. There needs to be, it seems to me, if society is going to hold together, that sense of social cohesion in which each of us, as part of the community, says, I've got a responsibility to this. It's not a formal responsibility. It's not law. It's just that I care about this society and I'm part of this. Mm-hmm. Increasingly concerned that whatever the gravity is that holds the asteroid in orbit is just beginning to dissolve. And these people again and again are just sort of out there wandering.
Yeah.
We never...
Because you get supplied whatever you want for your need to quell and satisfy or temporarily satisfy the need that you might want to fill with talking to someone. People don't even try to talk to one another. Like, I'm guilty of this too. Don't take this video as me, like, trying to be patronizing. I am so guilty of this shit. Like, I remember recently, I think I talked about it, where there was a woman packing groceries, and in America it's very common, like, they pack your groceries for you. And I was standing in line, and I thought she looked really cute, and I'm not, like, in a very platonic way, I wanted to go up to her and say, you look really pretty today, you look really nice. But then that fucking just nagging feeling, what, you hit on her? No, you fucking retard. I'm not talking about hitting on someone, man. Yeah, like that nagging feeling that I'd get rejected and I didn't want to come across as weird or get posted on social media or anything like that stopped me from doing that. And that's like That's something that I think has kind of also been a layer of dysfunction supplied by social media. Like, everyone has phones to record you with. You're, like, scared to, like, you know, say something nice to someone in case it comes off as creepy or something. Because, like, yeah, obviously, back in the day, people talked and stuff in, like, the town square, and, like, you'd hear gossip from, like, old ladies or whatever, but now it's like, oh my god, like, what if someone records me and ruins my fucking life?
Ever in the history of the world experienced anything like the baby boom that followed World War II, and we will never experience it again. This was that sort of one-time phenomenon. And what we see in the 60s may be as simply explained as saying
boomers.
That's the maturing of that tremendous crush of population, which finally didn't have the elbow room, and finally needed to break out and say, I'm me.
This is all to say that the generations following the boomers grew up with strong individualism already embedded in society.
Oh, yeah.
Individualism came to prominence in the 1960s and 70s and never really left. There were, of course, periods where this did improve, but since the 2000s, social interaction has taken a nosedive.
I don't want to be that guy, but I do think there will be a shift when the last baby boomer passes away from natural causes. I think there might be a pendulum swing coming. Yeah, they are getting really old at this point. I think another 20, maybe 30 years. Hopefully, Gen X has been disillusioned enough by how much they got fucked over, and the older millennials as well. I hope that there's a change, because this is not gonna be okay. Then we'll be the boomers. No, because millennials and Gen Z are going to be the, I want to say, like, the Gen Xers. So, like, the babies of the baby boomers, kind of. I don't know, I'm getting ahead of myself. The youngest boomers are about to hit 60. I thought the youngest boomers are, like, 62, 64. Yeah. Some of them are like that.
You see, Orson, loneliness is a disease of the spirit, and people who have it think that no one cares about them.
Are you saying that Earthlings make each other lonely?
No, sir, I'm saying just the opposite.
It's Robin
they make themselves lonely.
Williams!
They're so busy looking out for number one, they don't have room for two.
It's too bad everybody down there can't get together and find a cure.
Well, here's the paradox, sir, because if they did get together, they wouldn't need one. Isn't that Zen-like?
His smile,
Generation
man.
X and the millennials settled into a hyper-individualistic world, and by 2007, Gina Gustafsson from Uppsala University would state that society is undergoing, quote, the slow but steady weakening of shared collective identities, norms, and culture, and the concomitant rise of the ideal of the independent individual, end quote. Broadly speaking, my generation, millennials, and Generation X were the most individualistic generations of all.
True.
That is, until Generation Z. You guys got the shortest end of the stick. You came of age during the explosion of the most individualistic tool known to man, during curated algorithms tailored to the desires of the individual.
Wait, but then Gen Z can't really escape it either, man. Yeah, early millennials and, like, late Gen Zs, they were born into this, and now they're figuring out, like, AI and, like, how materialistic AI can get and how easy it is to integrate into this society and, like, just get whatever the fuck you want easily, and now you're getting addicted to it, too. I don't know. We're all me-6? Yeah, I guess you could say that. We're all, like, trying to figure out our purpose, and, like, if we don't have our purpose, we're gonna blow up!
The words. Social media.
Yeah.
High schools and universities
Mr.
are filled with people physically sharing the same space, but with every idle minute, a phone is pulled out. This is something that wasn't even the case 15 years ago.
Yeah, I would say, I remember having a phone, but, like, it was still really strict, and we weren't allowed to pull them out, and, like, the naughty kids, they'd, like, play music on their phone in the back, and it would piss off the fucking teachers.
Of course, technology isn't inherently a bad thing. It is a tool. It can improve our lives. But if we strip away the benefits of convenient connection, what are we left with? A screen that separates us from the real world and the people around us. A device that consumes our attention and time. A platform that keeps us entertained, but separated.
Because somehow, even with all of our
Dopamine.
unprecedented technology, no one has yet solved what I'll call the other gamer's dilemma. That when you shut your computer screen, power down your phone, take off the VR headset, there you are, alone in your room.
Now, this is all known and common knowledge, but what's surprising is what's next. There's a hidden force that's causing people to feel lonely, and it's hardly ever talked about.
Capitalism.
We are about to become a society. By the turn of the century, there will be 8 times as many people over the age of 60 and half as many kids under the age of 5. Is this the world we want? Do we want a lack of kids? Do we want a lack of ability to create households? The happiest, most prosperous, most purposeful people in America are middle-class families. And we have made a concerted decision to punch it in the gut and make it harder for that type of family formation. And we're going to lose prosperity and we're going to lose purpose.
People are going to fucking have a really rude awakening when all the feminists who say, like, oh, well, women don't need to have babies, you're going to be fighting fucking thousands, millions of years of evolution. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, females are supposed to reproduce. Like, you can't fucking fight it. It's like telling a bird not to fucking fly. Like, you can't. Yeah.
Most people
That's
don't realize
wild,
this,
man.
but societal cohesion and economics are very closely interlinked. A healthy growing economy means that the standards of living go up. Jobs are stable, wages are increasing, and inflation is low. People can afford more, feel happier, and are more likely to build relationships.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
A faltering economy is exactly the opposite.
We do
Today,
not have
due
that
to
right
rising
now.
inflation,
This is what we
stagnant
have right
wages,
now.
and debt burdens, people have
And we have flipping burgers instead of this guy.
to work longer and harder. Sometimes we may even need to juggle multiple jobs just to keep up.
Yep.
It's a frustrating
And women have to join the workforce even if they really shouldn't and don't want to. And they have kids, which discourages other women from having kids. It's the fucking corpus. I'm telling you! It kind of boils down to corpus.
state of affairs. But if you're wondering why the world is like this, I fully explained it in my episode, How the 2008 Crisis Still Affects You.
Damn.
In that episode, I described how the true economy died in 2008, and it's been on life support ever since. Because of horrendous government policies and reckless behaviour from the financial sector, people have been struggling to make ends meet. Slowly at first, only to be accelerated by the pandemic. Today, it's a constant fight to stay in the disappearing middle class. All across the world, an increasing number of people are taking up second jobs. Most young people are working, but still can't afford to rent or buy a home. It's getting too expensive to go out.
I remember my brother, he's older than me, he said he wanted to get a loan, and this was like, I don't know, probably like 2016. And he physically couldn't. He had a pretty decent job, you know, like average middle income, flat out, and they said, no, you're not allowed to have like a decent house. It's just some fucking shit box. Yeah. Even for people that didn't grow up at the time, like maybe you're like, I don't know, 20 now, and maybe like 10 years ago, you know, you're 10. You could still hear the whispers of your parents and your older siblings talking about that kind of shit.
All of that, where is the
It's so
time,
fucked up.
money, or energy for socializing? This impacts how lonely we feel. And
No
it's not
energy.
just some pie-in-the-sky idea. To give you a data-driven picture of how influential economics can be to feelings of loneliness, a study with 400,000 UK participants found something shocking. If you measure the amount of loneliness felt in the aftermath
Choose happiness. And it's a Coca-Cola commercial. I'm sorry, I just can't. The fucking irony fucking hurts.
of the death of a
Fucking love
spouse and divided
corpus.
that by 4, that's the same amount of loneliness as going from earning over £100,000 down to under 18,000.
Say that again? What?
4. That's the same amount of loneliness as going from earning over £100,000 down to under 18,000.
The death of a spouse has the same effect as you losing $90,000 a year. Yeah, actually, you know what? That makes sense. Yeah.
The researchers also stated that losing this much income is half the loneliness felt from a divorce. The measures of loneliness were quantified by a range of survey questions. It's not directly intuitive, but being in a desperate economic situation directly increases feelings of loneliness. So now that we know some of the causes, in all society, who is the most affected? Statistically, it is not the elderly anymore. Now, it's the young.
Mm-hmm. And they don't fucking breed! Chat, start breeding!
If you do a search for I have no friends on YouTube, the results are filled with experiences of young people feeling lonely. They struggle to make real connections. These videos have thousands and even millions of views, which means that they must be resonating with people.
And when I got to my late 20s, and a lot of you can probably attest to this in the comments, let me know, but when I got to my late 20s, those friends disappeared. And it's not because they were like, I hate you, Cody. It's nothing like that. Everybody my age seems the same. That just seems how it is nowadays.
It's just them working, bro. I think if I tried to talk to someone from my old school, like high school or like college, like vicinity, I feel like they'd just all be like, yeah, I can't talk, I'm tired. Like, I don't think those people have, like, those people that have 9-to-5 jobs, I'm privileged, I can do my own thing. But, like, holy shit. Or they have a family. No. Take away if they didn't have a job, they'd still be able to have time to spend with you if they didn't have a job that was, like, rigid and you have to have a 9-to-5, and if you don't go to your 9-to-5, you lose it, and that's it. Of course they're gonna be like, nah, I can't talk to you. I can't afford to be friends with you, so to speak. It's like an exchange of friendship for value.
I'm sitting alone in my apartment at my desk staring at my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I don't have any friends. I don't know how to make friends and I'm scared. I just want to run into somebody. I hate meeting people online. It's so awkward. And you put all this into a conversation, but when you meet someone, you don't have that kind. Like, I feel like I need to meet people. I need to meet people, but I don't know how, and I don't think it's possible to just run into people.
Aww.
Have you ever had friends that...
Yeah, meeting someone online is not the same. Like I said, people always tell me, like, Alana, you're so good at talking to people. You stream to, like, thousands of people. And I'm like, buddy, it's not the same. I don't see your face. I can see the contortions on your face when I raise my voice. I see a chat, maybe, and then the other half is, like, just lurkers who are just listening. Like, it's just like, my God, it's not the same.
I secretly hate you. I had a lot of them in my life, which is why I am 30 years old and I have no friends.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a subreddit called r/lonely. It's ranked in the top 1% in terms of community size.
Wow.
There's thousands of active users discussing their isolation, lack of friends, and life partners. In previous years, younger people weren't considered a lonely demographic. But in 2015, the BBC's Loneliness Project surveyed over 50,000 people and found that the rates of loneliness in young
That's a massive sample size.
people was similar to that of elderly people. Here's a chart looking at the loneliness distribution between 2014 and 2018. The dotted line represents the 2018 data. As you can see, the rates of loneliness among the young are trending higher, whereas the elderly seem to be dropping.
Yeah, because the fucking old people aren't working! Oh my God, I want to pull my fucking hair out! Wow! No shot! Oh, I'm retired, I can do whatever the fuck I want! God! Ooh, I was so fucking mad. No fucking shit. The happiest I ever was being a fucking NEET playing World of Warcraft. And maybe going to college, like, maybe twice or 3 times a week and fucking hating it. Or, like, are you trolling, man?
Fast forward to 2021,
God, I love
and a
being
Harvard
neat.
Graduate
It's
School of
amazing.
Education survey found that 61% of young people ages 18 to 25 reported experiencing profound loneliness, including feeling lonely all the time. And this was compared to only 36% among other age groups.
All the old people sex they can have, but no babies coming out, just dust. Mods, can we pin that comment? Can we pin that one?
In 2022, 30%
That's
of
going
young
up on the
people aged
fridge.
16 to 24 in the UK say that they don't know how to make new friends and have never felt more alone. To add to the situation, for some reason, it seems that men are feeling more lonely than women. According to the Survey Center on American Life, 55% of men had at
And
least...
you wanna know what the most alarming part about this is that women aren't supposed to like really have lots of like real intimate friends. Men are supposed to be the ones that are the more outgoing sex, in my opinion, because the camaraderie of men competing against one another it's not laced with the same like biological need for women to be friends and put each other down in so to speak. Like the crabs in the bucket situation. I know that not every woman thinks like this. It might not be something that you do it's not something you do consciously, and it's something you do instinctively instead. Men also go into the army. That's where camaraderie is also formed. Like, yeah, sure, men are competitive inherently, but it's like seeing that men are more lonely is mostly because of women. Mostly.
least 6 close friends in 1990.
Wow.
But this figure has decreased to 27% today. Alarmingly, the number of men without any close friends has increased 5 times since 1990, while women are getting much lonelier too. This highlights a significant loss in meaningful connections among the male population.
Meanwhile, those with literally zero...
What if the women that are lonely are because women don't go out because they're like busy fucking doing OF or like Fansly? What if there's like a correlation with that? I'd love to see like a study done on that. Like, why would I go outside? I make lots of money and like show my boobies. Yeah, they on that grind, man.
Close friends.
Because men stopped simping? No, chatter, that is not how it works, no. If anything, I think simping on the internet has become exponentially increased.
Which stood at 3% in 1990, has zoomed to 15%. An expert quoted by The Hill said this disconnect can have catastrophic consequences for young men.
Failing young men does not end well. This is an existential crisis.
Also compounding issues of single mothers or father figures that don't exist and not being able to know what to do. I think people also very much underestimate how much it affects not having a father figure in your life as a male. People always joke and say like, oh, fatherless behavior, you know, like with women, and saying that kind of shit out loud and being really cruel to females in that sense. But like, I think that the damage is arguably just as bad, if not worse, with not having a father figure that is strong, powerful, a mentor. They try to seek it out with other substitutes, like for an extreme one, for example, Andrew Tate, and like other podcasts that maybe aren't as like, you know, malicious or, you know, sucking your wallet dry with stupid courses on how to be a man and shit.
Young men.
Yeah.
Loneliness has spread across the globe.
Yeah, online dads, bro.
Australian researchers conducted a systematic review and meta-analysis of 57 studies from across 113 countries or territories. The study discovered that despite the differences in prevalence between regions and ages, loneliness was found to be present across all regions. According to a Statista study done in late 2022, 33% of adults worldwide report feeling lonely at least sometimes. Brazil, India, and Saudi Arabia rank as some of the loneliest countries. whereas Germany, the Netherlands, and Russia report some of the lowest rates.
Now, is that because of the size and the sample? That's my question. Like, that immediately, like, I did statistics for like 2 years in college, and immediately my first thought is like, why Turkey and India? Like, is the population that high? Do they account for that? Italy? I don't know, man. Why do you think we keep asking people to come to Brazil? That's why they're lonely. They want friends. Yeah, but then the statistical anomaly is like, why is Italy so freaking high?
Whereas Germany, the Netherlands, and
but you could also attribute that to the question of what is lonely and what is quantified as lonely. Maybe in Italian culture, being lonely is considered like more sorrowful, whereas like in America, you might feel the same level of isolation and brush it off as like something that you're just used to. God damn, we're getting into like philosophical territory of like what it means to be lonely. Maybe like in Latin America, because they're a very bustling, hyper, very fun-loving culture. Maybe in Brazil being lonely means more. Yeah, maybe it's that. Yeah, maybe it's that.
Russia report some of the lowest rates. If we want to get granular, we can see the effects of COVID via the proxy search term, feeling lonely. It's not a perfect analogue, but it gives you an idea. The popularity of the people searching the term dramatically spiked in late 2021 and...
Oh wow, no. Whoa! Holy shit! Look at where my ear is! Oh my god! I was like looking at this, right? Like it's covered, you can't see it. And then it like panned to this and I was like, holy chat, are you lonely?
Early 2022.
We're flying, chat.
This is most likely due to the effects of the pandemic. Of course, the government responses to the pandemic have had long-lasting implications. Many people moved away for work or just for a change. This shuffling on such a massive scale caused a lot of disruption to the connections within society. In Japan, the issue is especially severe. In 1991, their central bank popped a stock market and real estate bubble by raising interest rates. The economy stagnated so hard that the period that followed is simply known as the lost decades.
Wow, what?
A lot of young Japanese people today aren't dating, and a large number don't have any friends. Some live their lives as shut-ins known as hikikomori. They can sit in their room.
It's those damn VTubers. I told you, chat.
For months, and sometimes years, only venturing out to eat and use the toilet.
And in the bedroom.
I mean, what more do you need? Do you just resign yourself? Dude, he looks really gaunt for 40. I wonder if they could study him somehow. I guess you can't retroactively, but like, what are the effects of his body on being lonely like this? It helps you can just DoorDash, Instacart, Amazon, anything you eat. Literally don't have to leave the house. Yeah, Japan was also ahead of its time. They very much had a very lonely culture even before DoorDash and Uber Eats. Like, they had restaurants where you could just be fucking alone. Everything is very readily available. You don't really have to interact with people. Whereas in America, it kind of exploded after COVID. So, like, probably let's round it up to, like, maybe 6 years. With this is probably been happening for like 15, maybe even 20 years. Yeah, Rent a Friend. They have Rent a Friend, chat. Oh my god, I forgot about that. We watched a clip on that. It's real.
He wants to feel.
There's an estimated 1.5 million hikikomori in Japan.
Population of Japan. 124.5 million. That's still an amazing amount of people. I'm not gonna lie. People that just don't leave. I wonder how many that is, like, that number's probably skyrocketing yearly too. Yeah, probably. I feel like in America, it's like you're kind of forced to interact most of the time.
It seems like an emerging trend in East Asia. In China, they are called the hidden
World of Warcraft! I think that looks like priest. It's really hard to tell. Maybe a shaman? Maybe a totem? Maybe frost shock? No, this is a fire mage. I think that's combust, and I think that's fire blast. No, I think this is mage.
youth. And in South Korea,
Come on.
they are known simply
Damn
as
it! I thought I would
socially
zoom in
withdrawn
more.
youth. As for the Japanese, to cope with the loneliness epidemic, they've tried to innovate their way out of the situation. They have the unique concept of renting relationships. Yes, that's right. You can pay for temporary companionship and emotional support.
All for money, man. Again, it comes back to fucking money. Money. If this was, like, not allowed, it would probably stop.
You can hire people to act as your friends, family members, or even pose as your girlfriend or boyfriend.
What?
At least in Japan, lonely people are resorting to real-life people, albeit strangers, to ease their loneliness. But in the West, the market is using the new AI boom to target lonely people in stranger and more bizarre ways. For example, Karen Marjorie is a social media influencer with nearly 2 million followers on Snapchat. She created her own AI chatbot called Karen AI.
Oh, Amaranth did this too, and it made her, like, I think it was like $20,000 in, like, 12 hours? Maybe even higher than that. I can't remember. It was some ridiculous fucking number.
It can replicate her voice, personality, and appearance, and all it costs for users is $1 a minute.
Platforms.
$1 a minute? Bro, that's so fucking much money! What the fuck?
Are you real?
Yes, Jacob, I'm a real person. I might not be sitting right next to you, but I'm using this audio chat platform to connect with you in real time. I'm a young, curvy woman with a petite...
His face. That's my face. I'm like, young, curvy woman. Whoa. Chill. I'm about to fucking start whipping my dick out and stroking it.
Body, brown hair, perky breasts.
Oh my god! This is so weird. Like, whoa. What, do you want me to whip my pee-pee out?
Soft skin, a bubble and full lips.
I got a nasty butt.
And I'm here to talk and have fun with you.
Yeah,
Also, people declaring that solving loneliness with technology is the new market.
I'm enjoying her hustle. You know she makes $5 million a month doing this stuff?
John, I'm so God, I fucking hate The View. Holy shit.
So tired of my financial situation. Yes, I would do it. 100%.
I would encourage her to...
I'm not gonna say anything, but I bet you would. Because nobody fucking watches you.
think twice. I think younger
I'm not gonna say it.
$5 million a month or give away their likeness and their
She can buy an island and go think twice about it in her home.
Interesting. Yes. I would not have expected that.
Why? It's not me.
The large influx of messages she receives from her 98% male audience. And this isn't just text-based interaction. It seems that it's predominantly audio-based on the AI's end. Let's check out a demo.
Hey there, John. It's lovely to meet you. I just spent the morning grabbing brunch at the Flowering Tree Cafe in West Hollywood. It was absolutely amazing.
Who the fuck pays for this shit, man? It doesn't even sound like even semi-realistic, bro.
For this evening, maybe we can plan a virtual dinner date or watch a movie together. What do you think?
Virtual dinner date? What? Like you're gonna show salad in the fucking phone's like fucking screen?
This chatbot allows Karen to converse with an unlimited number of people at one time. Whether the consumer wants to do so for a few minutes or all day doesn't matter as long as they pay $1 per minute to maintain access.
Oh my
Meta
god.
has just released an interactive AI version of celebrities, such as Mr. Beast, Kendall Jenner,
Ew.
and Snoop Dogg.
Ew, why? Ugh, this is so cringe.
We've covered AI companions before, but the future may be filled with clones of celebrities, influencers, or even deceased relatives. They claim that these products help people to cope with grief.
No, I actually, like, say what you want and call me a schizo, chat. I truly believe that it's like a form of necromancy. Yeah, it's like a really fucked up, weird schizo necromancy form. No, you can't do that to people. You just can't. It actually will, like, mind fuck you. I don't care if, like, oh yeah, like, initially they might feel really good about it and maybe they'll get some fucking closure. It's like, nuh-uh, it's literally necromancy. I'm sorry.
Loneliness or boredom. There's an ethical debate to be had on if this help provided is actually a net positive. Should we be at this point in the first place?
I am a schizo. I'll admit that. I am. He's the Lich King!
US health authorities are calling for social isolation to be treated as seriously as obesity
fucking
or drug abuse.
Zuckerthus.
Nearly 50% of all Americans are thought to be affected or have been affected at some point. Around the world, the figures may vary, but the loneliness phenomena is spreading. In his writing, Together, The Healing Power of Human Connection in a Sometimes Lonely World, Dr. Murthy describes loneliness as a health risk that can impact anyone, regardless of age, gender, culture, or background.
Loneliness increases the risk for heart disease, stroke, and among older adults, dementia.
It can harm mental and physical health, as well as social well-being, and increase the risk of an early death due to diseases such as diabetes, heart attacks, insomnia, and dementia.
Oh yeah, dude, when I was really stressed out about streaming, I had a really bad bout of insomnia. I kept fucking laying in bed and I couldn't fall asleep, and it was like, I felt like my body was like stringent and straight, and I couldn't like get comfortable, and like literally I was laying there for like an hour. Hours and hours, and then after 2 hours it became 3, and then it was like 4 hours, and I was like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with me? I went on a fucking walk outside and then it still wouldn't help. No, I've learned to manage my stress, and I realized what was stressing me the fuck out, and I think it's gotten a lot better. But I'm telling you, it's like the same feeling of like loneliness, except it's a different type of stress. You're like stressed out that you're not like getting ahead, and you're not like finding a mate or whatever. It's fucked.
Studies have linked loneliness to higher blood pressure, high cholesterol, lower levels of physical activity, cognitive impairment, and mental health issues like anxiety, stress, mood
Also
disorders,
eating away
and
your
depression.
problems too, that's very common.
A study by Florida State University found that lonely older adults had a 40% higher risk of developing dementia over the next 10 years. Lack of social connection can also...
That could be like associated to like actually getting brain damage to an extent. Yeah, I'm not saying that dementia is brain damage, and there's a lot of research done on it, but there's people who have traumatic brain injuries, like footballers or people who get into like car accidents or motorcycle accidents, and they have like increased rate of dementia, or like they can potentially get dementia sooner than later. So like in a way, I guess you could like say that you're inadvertently like inflicting psychic damage upon your brain.
Also negatively impact academic and professional performance. In his TED Talk and book, Lost Connections, journalist and author Johann Hari argues that depression is largely a social problem, not just a chemical one. He believes that loneliness is a major cause of depression. Humans need to belong to a group, but our modern society lacks this. Since the 1970s, society has been focused ever more on individualism, competition, and technology. So this all sounds terrible. So what can we do about it? How do we fix this?
I've always wanted to ask this question, and I really just don't fucking know, to be honest. It requires such leaps in generational, like you either have to do something really fucking drastic now, like banning certain shit, and that's like bad on its own, and inherently like you start unraveling the, you know, underground mafia, or like a black market forms. Like you can't really do that. So like you'd have to like have some sort of like generational switch that like that gradually changes people back over time, like 50, maybe 60, maybe like 70 years down the line, like when we're all fucking dead, man. I don't know, man.
Walking clubs are taking off. And it's not just the exercise.
You're connecting with someone, which is something that I was kind of missing.
More and more people are missing that connection.
You know what? That's vibes. That is so vibes. Walking club? Yeah. But then that becomes an inherent problem. It's like, what if you live in a really horrible area where you can't, like, walk anywhere? See, like, and there's, like, layers to this, and it's all fucking just awful.
In 2018, the UK appointed a minister for loneliness, and there has been talks in other countries to follow suit. This could be a start. Governments can do more to help. Initiatives such as local community engagement meetings, improvements in access to mental health resources, education and public awareness on how...
My taxes don't go to that. They go to nuking, never mind. Ballistic missiles. Wars. I mean, what?
How to identify loneliness and combat loneliness, as well as development and investment in affordable housing. It's shown that housing stability impacts social connections. City planners can implement communal areas for people.
Dude, Madrid is... Oh, wait, this is Barcelona. Dude, Barcelona is so pretty. Like, actually, though, look how fucking cool, man. Oh, it's so pretty.
Together. A great example of this is in Barcelona, Spain.
Oh, yeah, Barcelona. Yeah, my bad.
The American mind cannot comprehend what's going on around me. This isn't a party. It's not even a planned event.
Yeah.
It's just what happens every afternoon here in Barcelona, Spain. After school and work, people come out to squares like this to hang out, get work done while their kids play with friends, socialize, interact with acquaintances or true friends and neighbors.
Or supervision amongst people who you can trust. Yeah, man. I don't know. I do think that... Another factor, that's what I was also thinking, like the actual structure of a city. Like, walking clubs are great, but like... Oh my god, wait, this is the perfect example. Hold on. You give people a space and they will fill it. You give them the appropriate space. You can't force them to. Like, you can't force an entire nation like America to, like, start doing walking clubs and shit, man. Walkable cities. It's not even that. It's that, okay, let me show you this picture of Barcelona. Do you see these fucking courtyards and shit? Not even walkable cities in Europe do this kind of thing. Not everybody has, like, what is it called? Like, courtyards like this. Russia does, even in Moscow. I remember they do have courtyards for, like, apartments and stuff and, like, housing. But in Barcelona, it's, like, it's massive. Like, everyone has that kind of thing.
You see, these public squares are an example of what some people call third places. They're not work, your first place. They're not home, your second place. But they're a third place where you interact with acquaintances and friends. In America, these third places are dwindling as...
Oh, they don't exist. Literally, just, they're dead. No, I'm legitimately, I can't even think of... Like, people playing outside is, like, pretty rare. I remember when I was growing up and I lived in Europe and everybody just let their kids out to play and it was just awesome. And the kids would scream and you could hear them in the like if you lived in an apartment or a high rise, you could hear them screaming outside. Yeah. Yeah, playing tag and hide and seek, and there's like a playground. It's not a plaza like in Barcelona, for example, but it's very similar. Alright, stop flexing on us. No, because I remember in New Zealand and in America, you still see kids playing outside. You do. You still do, just not as much.
Religion and church is having less a significant impact in Americans' lives.
Exists,
but also third places are disappearing because of zoning laws, which keep separating the different types of activity that you have in a city to the point of every activity has to be intentionally planned. And what third places we do have in America, things like coffee shops or bars and cafes, they're paid third places.
Yes! Thank you! And it circles back to fucking money. Just like the loneliness shit with the Japanese.
Just aren't very accessible for people who are poor, at least on a regular basis. Now, why does it happen here in Spain? Well, of course, there's a culture for it, but more than that, there's an environment that's conducive to it.
An old grandma bringing out a bunch of fucking cake because she's lonely, and then, like, kids running up to her, and maybe, like, again, it's fucking organic. You can do the same exact thing with MMOs. If you go to a roleplay server on an MMO, there are spaces that get filled organically and not forced by the developers, which is like the city planning, for example, or the government. Those things naturally exist. If the game starts sucking, or your city starts sucking, or there's an outside factor to it, then it'll die. It will reduce, and people will be cornered into a smaller space or just go back to their homes and not talk to each other again. I remember when MMOs were a lot more social than even now, and it's really, really sad. You can, I don't know, maybe there's someone out there, but they totally get what I'm saying. Like, it used to be way more social.
But what about the individual person? Saying, go make a friend, or man up, isn't exactly helpful. Loneliness is not something to be ashamed of or ignored. You wouldn't be ashamed to get help for a broken arm.
Absolutely
So
not.
if your soul is injured, you should reach out.
Soul!
Here are 6 ways that one can combat loneliness. Number 1, reach out. This could include professional help or expressing how you feel to your friends or family. You can just start small. You could also find local groups, organizations, and services that can help you connect with others. Reach out to a mental health professional, like a therapist or counselor. They can provide you with guidance and support to address the underlying causes of loneliness. Number 2, self-acceptance. This seems counterintuitive, but another solution is to cultivate a connection.
Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna watch VTubers and Aspen Bald. I mean, you're not wrong, Chet. You're not wrong.
It's a practice to remind us that we do indeed have self-worth. A 2022 study showed that self-reflection can reduce feelings of loneliness and also contribute to finding meaning in life. Reflecting on who you are, practicing self-compassion, and writing down how you're feeling can be a great start. Number 3, gratitude.
I've been writing a lot instead of drawing, because drawing, I feel like I'm just not good enough at it, and I've felt a really good outlet from it. I know it's not for everyone, but I'm just saying, I've been doing it.
A lot of things around us tell us that we're not enough. It's how a lot of companies make
the rat race!
their money. The advertising.
Oh my god, happiness and it's Starbucks. Just buy it. Happiness, the beginning of a entire new franchise. You wish you were dead. Yo, who made this? This is so fucking good and on the nose.
Tells us we're not
I am fucking slamming my fucking stupid finger at the screen. Look, Coca-Cola. We saw it. I pointed it out. Remember? Right at the start when it's like a shot of London. It's the same thing.
rich enough or pretty enough, or that if we just buy this one more thing, we'll be happy. We can combat this by being grateful in what we do have. The practice of gratitude. I know it sounds trite, but the simple practice of gratitude can do wonders. A 2021 study showed that increased gratitude can reduce feelings of loneliness. A 2015 study, 2011 study, and 2010 study all showed the same thing.
Oh, I'm a masochist. I'll watch like a really fucking horrible, like, fucking gut-wrenching anime or like a movie and be like, maybe my life isn't so fucking bad after all, you know? Like, it's all about perspective, and I feel like people really get holed into like, oh my god, my life is so bad. It's like, well, actually, Alana, you used to be a fucking NEET with no job and you fucking dropped out of college and played World of Warcraft. Your life actually wasn't really that bad. In perspective.
For just 5 minutes a day,
Yeah,
really
or
think about what you can be thankful
sad
for.
too.
At first, it may seem like there's nothing to be thankful for. But if you're not forced to fight in a war, have a roof over your head, and are in decent physical health,
Coke,
have food, and have water, that's
Thank you
better
so
than some
much.
people. We should be thankful for that and much more.
I'm thankful for
There's nothing
gifted
wrong with
sub.
acknowledging that where you are right now is hard, really, really hard. But incorporating the practice of gratitude alongside other support can strongly aid in your journey.
For example, studies prove that gratitude can increase happiness, reduce depression, and strengthen resiliency. Grateful people often experience reduced blood pressure, less chronic pain, increased energy, even longer lives.
Whoa.
People who purposefully express more gratitude report higher self-esteem than those who don't, and they're more likely to help others. A pro-social behavior also linked to greater happiness.
Oh my god, empathy has really died. No, truly, I think it has.
People who capture grateful thoughts before bed sleep better than those who don't.
Yeah.
Why so many positive changes? Because gratitude actually rewires our brains, kickstarting the production of dopamine and serotonin. Like antidepressants, these feel-good neurotransmitters activate the bliss center of the brain, creating feelings of happiness and contentment. This appears to be self-perpetuating. Research suggests that with regular practice, you'll train your prefrontal cortex to better appreciate and retain positive experiences and thoughts. And
I mean, even with like something as small as being sad and watching your favorite, like, I don't know, content creator or a video comes out from your favorite video creator that hasn't done it, hasn't posted in a while, I think that you should really, really try. I've done it myself when I'm feeling really down about myself and be like, hot diggity, at least I'm alive to like see this happen in real time, you know what I'm saying?
to deflect the negative ones.
Yeah.
Number 4.
It keeps
social
me
media
bad
reduction.
thoughts, it does.
When it comes to using social media, we need to use it in moderation.
Oh my god, please tell me about it. That's one thing that I hate about being a streamer, like me, the type of streamer, because I have to, well, I don't have to, but like I feel an obligation to like be in the loop and stuff. That's my biggest fucking crime, man. It really is. Looking at fucking Twitter and reading shit. Oh my gosh. I really do have to pace myself. I have to teach myself to stop looking for content or like looking for things to talk about like for hours. I really do.
There's research that says that a small amount of social media is beneficial, but a large amount is
Would really
detrimental.
recommend it.
30 minutes of use a day is the advice from Dr. Jeremy Noble. He cited a university
30 minutes! Alright, chat. We're gonna do 30-minute streams from now on.
of Pennsylvania study. Cutting back on social media
It's
can
over,
significantly improve your well-being. Dr. Noble also advises to choose social media platforms that help us develop authentic social connections. Number 5. Giving to others. Giving to others shows us that we have something to offer to the world. Ironically, this can help us feel less lonely. Local community volunteering or just helping a work colleague or neighbor in small ways. According to Vivek Murphy, the man who first declared the loneliness pandemic back in 2017, quote, "Service is one of the most under-recognized antidotes to loneliness. It reaffirms to ourselves that we have value to add to the world."
And again, it's about perspective too. Like you're going out and helping the homeless, and you're at a soup kitchen, and your life might fucking suck ass, and you want to fucking blow your fucking head off, but you're giving to someone, and their life is so much fucking worse. It puts perspective of it, man. Yeah. Oh,
And
perspective
lastly,
on
number
it.
6, connection. Loneliness is a stress state that makes us focus on ourselves rather than outwards towards others. To keep safe, we often treat people and things with suspicion when we feel lonely. This can ruin self-esteem. We feel like we're not lovable or likable. These factors compound on each other,
Okay, this is a little bit too on the fucking nose. I'm not gonna say anything.
making it hard to solve and creating a downward spiral. To break the cycle, one can start slowly. Even a quick hello to your neighbors
Fuck no. Fuck off. I don't want to talk to you.
can help inch connection forward.
Nah.
And lastly,
yourself.
if you're fortunate to have a healthy group of friends, try and schedule calls together, talk to each other, and just chat about life.
Yeah.
There's an
This does help. Yeah, I think this is healthy.
old Japanese tradition from Okinawa called moi. It basically means lifelong group of friends. They meet weekly and talk about life, discuss issues, and help each other. Elders in Okinawa live extraordinarily better and longer lives than almost anyone anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, but they also don't shove burgers in their mouth and eat Big Macs 5 times a day. America, fuck yeah.
It's common to find moi groups that have been friends for over 90 years.
That's why I've travelled to the Japanese archipelago of Okinawa, where there are more centenarians than anywhere else in the world.
それからお友達関係とっても親しくして仲良くしてるから悩みあんまりない。
元気だろ元気。
She's 90? Bro, she looks like she's maybe like 75.
友達は会うのが楽しい。
She's 100? No shot! No way!
散歩行ってからよ。友達いるデイサービス。いっぱいいるさ友達。おばあさんたちいっぱい。
Dude, she's so sassy. I don't speak Japanese, but you can see her the sass, bro.
カモの話さえ。何年も話する？昔の話したら。昔の。
Bro.
私まだ
84.
私が一番楽しいのはみんなと一緒に会ってお話しして、
Dude, that's awesome.
それから
I love that.
踊り踊ったりしたら自分の健康になるような気がしますね一番。
Dude, they're having so much fun.
3つぐらい空いてますよ。一番古いのだったらもう50年ぐらい続いてないから。
50 years!
お友達が集まってごやごや話し合いするのがとっても楽しい。もうやめないですよ。みんながね元気じゃないと自分もね長いこと元気でも面白くないさね。
Yeah, but I can watch VTubers for 100 years and then brag about how I was there when the first VTubers came around. Yeah, that's my purpose in life.
I don't try to live as long as possible. It happens naturally because we all gather, laugh and cry together. And that's what's good. That's what we say.
That's it. That's really the way of life in Okinawa.
Keep in mind that these are general rules, and some may find it harder to make connections than others due to being non-neurotypical or due to other circumstances within their lives. Sometimes, people that you try to connect with can just be plain rude. But at the end of the day, there are many ways to combat loneliness. So the key is to realize how you're feeling and to find the best strategy for you alongside professional help. If you encounter someone showing symptoms of loneliness, don't ignore them. Reach out to people who might be lonely.
How wholesome.
Talk to them. If they need professional help, guide them in the right direction. It all comes down to how can you be of service to others? The gift of simply being there and truly listening can sometimes go a long way.
See,
go in with an open mind.
You're giving me fucking therapy. Yeah, seek therapy on that chat. You are my therapy. I might fucking hate talking to people, but you help. Like, what are you talking about?
Don't be quick to judge and try and practice understanding. Once we listen to others, they can be more open to listening to us.
Nah, fuck that shit. I'm kidding.
Chronic loneliness is an unnatural condition, a state that we were not designed for. It leaves us empty and longing for connection and understanding. It's been slowly building since industrialization, accelerating in the 1960s and 70s, before exploding in the 21st century. It crept in and snuck up on us, and only with the proliferation of smartphones and COVID did it get so severe that it could no longer be ignored. Only now are we starting to see and do we care about the impact of loneliness.
No, because the corporaporpers are still selling us this shit, and we have to break the chains, bro.
Before it gets out of hand, we need to tackle the situation. Of course, you can't alleviate everyone's loneliness.
Therapy and all this stuff is a band-aid solution, in my opinion. I'm sorry to be the pessimist.
As each person longs for different types and different depths of connection. But as it poses a public health concern on a global level, both government sectors and private health organizations need to be more vigilant. Confronting loneliness is not an impossible task, but it is going to take some work. It requires a genuine demonstration of care and compassion for oneself and others. As mentioned, this episode was many months in the making, so I hope that I could shed some light on the modern origins of loneliness, the causes and the solutions. Although the chatter amongst strangers may have gone in many public spaces, hopefully the chatter on our streets will return one day.
Maybe not in my lifetime.
So what are your thoughts on this epidemic level of loneliness? Have you personally been affected by it? What's your story? Do you know someone else that's going through loneliness? Please share your experiences and insights in the comments section below.
Aww.
Anyway, that's about it from me. My name is Dagogo. If you did like this episode and want to see more on anything else on science, technology, and business, feel free to subscribe to ColdFusion.
This was really reflective.
Right,
I really liked it.
And I'll catch you again soon for the next episode.
I really enjoyed that, man.
Have a good one.
That was really good. Yo! ColdFusion. He makes really good docus, man. Overworking. I know. Overworking. Did we learn anything from it? I think so. It kind of reminded me of... It reminded me of being appreciative of what I have, because like sometimes you get really holed up on like the whole numbers game and like if people like you or not and blah 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 blah. It's like, I don't know, self-reflection chat.